Ladies and gentlemen, too many people see failure as a final destination, a verdict that determines their worth. They believe that if they fail once, they're finished. But I ask you today, who told you that failure was permanent? Who told you that one setback could define your future? Failure is not here to condemn you, it is here to educate you. Every failure carries a lesson in patience, in perseverance, in wisdom. It teaches you what does not work so you can discover what does. Some of the greatest minds in history, those who shaped the world with their inventions, discoveries, and ideas, were once labeled as failures. But they understood something that many do not. Failure is not an enemy. It is a teacher. The reason many give up after failure is because they do not understand their purpose. Purpose is what keeps you standing when everything around you seems to collapse. When you know why you were created, you will not allow temporary obstacles to destroy your destiny. If you fall, rise again. If you make a mistake, learn from it. If people doubt you, let that doubt become fuel for your progress. Your journey does not end because of one failure. It only refines your path. Failure does not come to shame you. It comes to show you what needs improvement. It is a mirror that reflects both weaknesses and hidden strengths. Instead of running from it, analyze it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I do better next time? The greatest athletes, the most brilliant minds, and the most influential leaders all had to confront failure before they reached success. They did not retreat in fear. They advanced with wisdom. And so must you. The only way to fail permanently is to stop trying. Those who win in life are not those who never failed, but those who never quit. The most successful people in the world were once counted out, but they refused to stay down. Your story is still being written. Your future is still ahead of you. And as long as you have breath, failure is not your final chapter. Get up. Keep going. Your destiny awaits. Failure is often misunderstood. Many people fear it, avoid it, and even allow it to define their lives. However, failure is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to embrace. It is an essential part of growth, a necessary ingredient in the journey towards success. Without failure, there can be no real progress. It is through failure that we gain experience, wisdom, and resilience. Every great achievement in history has been preceded by a series of failures. If we study the lives of successful individuals, we will find that failure was not the end for them. It was the turning point that propelled them toward greatness. When we fail, we are forced to confront our weaknesses. We come face to face with our limitations, and this is where real learning begins. Growth does not happen in moments of comfort. It happens when we are challenged, when we are stretched beyond our limits. Failure pushes us to step out of our comfort zones and seek new solutions. It teaches us what does not work, helping us refine our strategies and approaches. Without failure, we would remain stagnant, repeating the same patterns without progress. The greatest minds in history did not succeed because they avoided failure. They succeeded because they learned from it. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. He failed thousands of times before he finally succeeded in creating a working prototype. When asked about his failures, he famously stated that he had not failed. He had simply discovered thousands of ways that did not work. His perspective on failure was what led him to success. He understood that every failure brought him closer to his goal. Had he given up after the first few attempts, the world might never have known the brilliance of electric light. His story teaches us that failure is not a stop sign. It is a stepping stone to success. Failure also teaches us humility. It reminds us that we are not perfect, that we do not have all the answers, and that there is always room for improvement. When we experience failure, we learn to listen more, to seek advice, and to refine our skills. It strips away arrogance and replaces it with a hunger for growth. People who have never experienced failure often become complacent, believing they have already reached their peak. But those who have failed understand that learning is a lifelong process. They remain teachable, open to new ideas, and willing to adapt. This humility is what makes them stronger in the long run. Another important aspect of failure is that it builds resilience. Every time we fail and choose to get back up, we become mentally and emotionally stronger. Resilience is the ability to recover quickly from setbacks, and it is one of the most important qualities for success. Life will always present obstacles, disappointments, and unexpected challenges. Those who lack resilience will be easily discouraged, but those who have faced failure and persevered will have the strength to keep moving forward. They understand that no setback is final and no obstacle is too great to overcome. Failure is also a test of passion and commitment. When we fail, we must ask ourselves, do we truly want this? Are we willing to keep going despite the difficulties? Many people quit when they experience failure because they lack true commitment to their goals. But those who are deeply passionate about their vision will persist. No matter how many times they stumble, they are driven not by temporary success, but by a long-term purpose. Their failures become fuel for their determination. Instead of seeing failure as a reason to quit, they see it as proof that they are pushing their limits and growing stronger. The fear of failure often holds people back from even trying. Many potential innovators, leaders, and visionaries never take the first step because they are afraid of failing. But avoiding failure also means avoiding success. No one has ever achieved anything significant without first taking a risk. Failure is not a sign that you are incapable. It is a sign that you are in motion, that you are trying, that you are daring to reach for something greater. The most dangerous thing is not failure, it is inaction. Those who never try will never fail, but they will also never grow. One of the greatest lessons that failure teaches us is that progress is more important than perfection. Many people expect immediate success, believing that they must get everything right on the first attempt. But this is an unrealistic expectation. Growth is a process, and it requires time, effort, and patience. Failure is simply part of that process. Every mistake we make is a lesson that brings us one step closer to mastery. Instead of focusing on perfection, we must focus on progress. As long as we are learning and improving, we are moving in the right direction. In every area of life, whether in academics, career, relationships, or personal development, failure is inevitable. It is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It is a natural part of the journey toward excellence. Those who understand this truth will never be discouraged by failure. Instead, they will welcome it as an opportunity to learn, grow, and become stronger. The path to success is not a straight line. It is filled with twists, turns, and obstacles. But each failure along the way is a lesson, shaping us into the people we are meant to be. One of the greatest reasons people give up after experiencing failure is because they lack a clear sense of purpose. When there is no deeper meaning driving your actions, failure feels like a dead end. It becomes a crushing defeat instead of a temporary setback. However, when you understand your purpose, when you have a vision for your life, failure does not break you. Instead, it strengthens your resolve. Purpose gives you the ability to push through difficulties, to rise after every fall, and to see setbacks as part of the journey rather than the end of it. Purpose is what separates those who quit from those who persevere. Many people begin their journey with excitement and passion, but when they encounter failure, they lose motivation. Why? Because they were only focused on short-term success rather than long-term purpose. Those who truly understand their purpose do not give up when they fail. Instead, they see failure as a lesson, a stepping stone toward their ultimate goal. They are not easily discouraged because they know their mission is bigger than any single setback. Their purpose gives them the endurance to keep moving forward, no matter how many times they stumble. History is filled with examples of individuals who faced repeated failures but refused to give up because they were driven by purpose. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, yet he never abandoned his vision of a free and equal South Africa. His purpose gave him the strength to endure hardship, knowing that failure was not final. Similarly, Walt Disney was once fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity, and his early businesses failed. But he never let those failures define him because he was passionate about his vision. His purpose kept him moving forward until he built an empire that changed the world of entertainment forever. When you have a clear purpose, failure does not make you question your abilities. It refines them. Purpose forces you to evaluate your failures, learn from them, and adjust your approach. Without purpose, failure can feel overwhelming, leading to self-doubt and discouragement. But with purpose, you see failure differently. It becomes a tool for self-improvement rather than a source of shame. You understand that every setback is an opportunity to grow, to become wiser, and to develop the strength necessary for success. Purpose also fuels resilience. It gives you a reason to get back up after every fall. People without purpose often struggle to find the motivation to try again after failing. They become stuck, feeling as though failure has defined them. But those who are driven by purpose do not dwell on failure. They rise and keep going. They know that every obstacle they face is only temporary, and that persistence is the key to achieving their dreams. This resilience is what ultimately separates successful individuals from those who quit too soon. Failure also has a way of testing how deeply committed you are to your purpose. If you give up after your first failure, it may be a sign that you were not truly dedicated to your goal. True purpose is not easily shaken. It does not disappear at the first sign of difficulty. Instead, it grows stronger in the face of challenges. When you are truly committed to your purpose, you see failure as a necessary part of the journey. You embrace it, knowing that it is shaping you into the person you need to become to fulfill your destiny. Many of the most successful people in the world did not reach their achievements because they were free from failure. They succeeded because their purpose was stronger than their failures. They understood that failure was simply a part of the process, a stepping stone toward their greater vision. They refused to let temporary setbacks define their future. Instead, they used those failures as fuel to push them forward. They kept their eyes on their purpose, knowing that as long as they stayed committed, success was inevitable. Purpose gives you the ability to turn failure into motivation. Instead of allowing failure to discourage you, purpose helps you see it as confirmation that you are on the right path. Every failure teaches you something valuable, something that prepares you for the next stage of your journey. Without failure, you would never develop the skills, wisdom, and perseverance necessary for long-term success. Purpose allows you to take failure in stride, using it as a tool to refine your strategies and sharpen your abilities. One of the most powerful things about purpose is that it gives you clarity. When you know why you are doing something, you are less likely to be distracted by temporary setbacks. Many people allow failure to define their future because they have no clear vision of where they are going. They lack direction, so when they fail, they do not know how to move forward. But when you have a strong sense of purpose, you always know your next step. You are not easily shaken by failure because you understand that it is part of the process. You remain focused, determined, and committed to your goal, no matter what obstacles arise. Purpose is what keeps you moving forward when everything else seems to be against you. It is the driving force that turns failure into a stepping stone rather than a stopping point. Without purpose, failure feels like the end, but with purpose, failure becomes a lesson, a challenge to overcome, and an opportunity to grow. The people who make the greatest impact in the world are not those who never failed. They are those who never lost sight of their purpose no matter how many times they stumble. Failure is often seen as a negative experience, something to be avoided at all costs. However, failure serves a critical purpose in our personal and professional growth. It reveals both our weaknesses and our strengths. It acts as a mirror, showing us where we need improvement, while also uncovering hidden abilities we may not have realized we possess. If we learn to see failure as a tool for self-discovery, we can use it to refine our skills, develop resilience, and ultimately achieve success. When we fail, our weaknesses become evident. We see the areas where we lack knowledge, discipline, or preparation. This can be a humbling experience, but it is also necessary for growth. Without failure, we might never recognize these weaknesses, and we would continue operating with blind spots. Recognizing our weaknesses allows us to address them, whether through learning new skills, seeking guidance, or adopting better strategies. Failure does not exist to discourage us. It exists to teach us where we need to grow. Failure also exposes flaws in our approach. Sometimes we fail not because we lack talent or intelligence, but because we are using the wrong methods. A student who fails an exam may realize they need to improve their study habits. An entrepreneur whose business collapses may recognize that they need better financial planning. A leader who faces rejection may understand that they need to improve their communication skills. In every case, failure provides valuable feedback that we would not have received if everything had gone smoothly. It forces us to reassess, adapt, and make necessary changes. Beyond revealing weaknesses, failure also highlights strengths that might have remained hidden. Many people do not realize their full potential until they are tested by challenges. It is in moments of failure that we discover how determined, resourceful, and innovative we truly are. Someone who has never failed has never had the opportunity to prove their ability to overcome adversity. It is through failure that we build resilience, perseverance, and mental toughness. History is filled with stories of people who discovered their strengths through failure. Consider the example of Abraham Lincoln. Before becoming one of the most influential leaders in history, he faced numerous failures. He lost elections, failed in business, and suffered personal tragedies. Yet, through these experiences, he developed remarkable resilience and a deep understanding of leadership. His failures did not define him. They shaped him into the leader who would one day change the course of a nation. Failure also pushes us to step outside our comfort zones. When we succeed easily, we may never feel the need to challenge ourselves further. However, when we fail, we are forced to try new approaches, think creatively, and develop new skills. This expansion of our abilities would not happen if we never encountered obstacles. Failure compels us to become more adaptable, which is a crucial trait in any field of life. Another important aspect of failure is that it builds emotional strength. People who've never failed often struggle when they finally face adversity. They may feel overwhelmed or incapable of handling setbacks. However, those who have experienced failure multiple times develop emotional resilience. They learn how to manage disappointment, how to pick themselves up after defeat, and how to maintain confidence even in difficult situations. This emotional strength becomes an invaluable asset throughout life, allowing them to face future challenges with a sense of stability and self-assurance. Failure also helps clarify what truly matters. Sometimes we pursue goals for the wrong reasons, perhaps out of societal pressure, financial ambition, or fear of disappointing others. When we fail, we are forced to reevaluate our motivations. Do we still want to pursue this path? Is this truly our passion? If the answer is yes, failure becomes fuel for our determination. If the answer is no, then failure serves as a redirection, guiding us towards something better suited to our talents and desires. Either way, failure provides clarity and direction. Failure cultivates humility. It reminds us that we do not know everything and that there is always room for improvement. Humility allows us to seek help, to listen to advice, and to remain open to learning. Those who have experienced failure understand the value of persistence and hard work. They do not take success for granted because they know the effort required to achieve it. This mindset not only makes them better individuals, but also better leaders, mentors, and role models. Failure is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It strips away false confidence and replaces it with true strength. It exposes weaknesses not to humiliate us, but to help us grow. It reveals hidden strengths, showing us that we are more capable than we ever imagined. The key is to approach failure with the right mindset, not as a sign of defeat, but as a lesson, a stepping stone, and an opportunity for transformation. Those who learn from failure and use it wisely are the ones who rise stronger, wiser, and more prepared for success. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary step toward achieving it. Every great accomplishment in history has been built on a foundation of failures. The journey to success is rarely a straight path. It is filled with obstacles, missteps, and setbacks. However, each failure brings you one step closer to your goal. Every time you fail, you gain knowledge, experience, and wisdom that refine your approach and strengthen your resolve. Instead of seeing failure as a roadblock, it should be viewed as a bridge that leads to greater opportunities. Success is not achieved overnight. It is the result of continuous effort, learning, and perseverance. Many of the most successful individuals in the world failed multiple times before they reached their goals. What set them apart was their ability to view failure as part of the process rather than as a final defeat. They understood that every failure contained a lesson that would help them improve. Without failure, growth would be impossible. It is through trial and error that we discover what works and what does not, allowing us to refine our strategies and move forward with greater clarity. Failure is like a sculptor, shaping and molding us into the person we need to become in order to handle success. Often people desire success, but they are not yet ready for it. They lack the discipline, skills, or mindset required to sustain it. Failure serves as a refining fire, burning away complacency and forcing us to develop the qualities necessary for long-term success. It teaches patience, resilience, adaptability, and humility, qualities that are far more valuable than immediate success. Those who fail and continue pushing forward develop an unshakable foundation that prepares them for great achievements in the future. Consider the story of Colonel Harlan Sanders, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. Before achieving success, he faced rejection over 1,000 times while trying to sell his fried chicken recipe. Most people would have given up after the first few failures, but he understood that every rejection was simply a step toward his ultimate goal. His persistence paid off, and today KFC is a global brand. His journey proves that failure is not the end. It is just a hurdle on the way to success. If he had stopped after his first failure, the world would never have known his name. Every failure serves as a test of commitment. It asks a simple question: how badly do you want this? Many people give up on their dreams because they experience failure and assume it means they are not meant to succeed. But true success requires endurance. Those who are willing to face failure, learn from it, and keep going are the ones who eventually reach their destination. If success were easy, everyone would achieve it effortlessly. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is their willingness to persist despite failures. Failure also builds problem-solving skills. When we encounter difficulties, we are forced to think critically, adapt, and come up with new solutions. If everything worked perfectly on the first attempt, we would never develop the ability to navigate challenges. It is through failure that we learn to be innovative and creative. Some of the greatest inventions and breakthroughs in history were the result of failures that led to new discoveries. For example, Post-it notes were invented by accident when a scientist at 3M was trying to create a super strong adhesive, but instead developed a weak, reusable one. Rather than seeing this as a failure, he turned it into an opportunity, and today, Post-it notes are used worldwide. Failure also teaches patience. Many people become frustrated when success does not come as quickly as they expected. However, anything truly valuable takes time to build. Whether it is a career, a business, or a personal goal, the process requires patience and persistence. Each failure is a reminder that success is not instant but a journey. The key is to remain focused on the bigger picture and not become discouraged by temporary setbacks. Those who succeed are the ones who are willing to endure the waiting period, trusting that every failure is bringing them closer to their goal. One of the greatest benefits of failure is that it removes fear. Many people are so afraid of failing that they never even try. They stay in their comfort zones, avoiding risks and opportunities that could lead to growth. However, once you experience failure and realize that it is not the end of the world, you become fearless. You understand that failure is not something to be avoided but embraced. The most successful individuals are not those who never failed, but those who failed repeatedly and kept moving forward without fear. Failure also strengthens character. It humbles us, reminding us that we do not have all the answers and that there is always room for improvement. It teaches us to be grateful for small victories and to appreciate the journey rather than just the destination. People who have faced failure develop a deeper sense of empathy and wisdom, making them better leaders, mentors, and decision makers. They understand the struggles of others because they have faced struggles themselves. Success is built on a foundation of failures. Each failure is a lesson, a stepping stone, and an opportunity for growth. The key is to keep moving forward, knowing that every setback is simply part of the journey. Those who succeed are not the ones who never failed, but the ones who refuse to give up. Every failure brings you one step closer to success, if you are willing to learn, adapt, and persist.